There are moments in time that don't just whisper, they ring like a bell in your chest. This new moon in Gemini is one of them. It's the kind of lunation that doesn't ask politely. It's the kind that opens doors in your mind you forgot that you locked. It's not passive. It's definitely not polite. It's a signal to wake up, to speak up, and realign. The truth is rising. The question is, will you be the one to say it, or will you be the one to hear it? Gemini rules over communication, but this new moon isn't just about small talk or clever ideas. This new moon is in trine with Pluto and sextile Neptune and Saturn, with Mercury in its home sign preparing for Cazimi several days later. This is a sacred moment of crystalline clarity. This is a mental alchemy, a truth portal. It's about discernment. It's about boundaries. And it's about dropping the masks and saying what actually matters. If you've been lost in the noise, this lunation brings a signal. If you've been drifting in a fog, it sharpens your edge. And if you've been afraid to speak, now is the time to find your voice. Not to perform, not to conform, but to connect with yourself, with your future, and with the truth. So let's talk about it. Welcome, everyone, to Apogee of the Moon. I am Shanna, your host, and this is your new moon in Gemini forecast. So I'm so glad you're here. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe. It helps my channel grow, and you get more content like this. So whether you're listening in your morning, drinking coffee, or this is a late night, and you're looking at the sky, reflecting on your questions, this is the space for you. So this is your full moon breakdown of the Gemini new moon happening on May 26th of 2025 at 6 degrees of Gemini. Depending on where you are in the world, depends on if it's the 27th or not. So I'm going to walk you through the key themes of the planetary players. And of course, we'll cover what that means for each of the 12 rising signs. So get cozy, get curious, and let's decode the sky. So let's start with Gemini. Gemini is a mutable air sign. It is ruled by Mercury. It governs over language, ideas, thought patterns, local environment, and the way we mentally process the world around us. New moons are invitations to reset, to plant seeds, to manifest. And this one is primed for mental, verbal, and ideological clarity. The sun and the moon come together in Gemini while forming super supportive and harmonious aspects to three major outer planets. So Pluto in Aquarius forms a trine. This adds a current of deep transformation to our thoughts, our conversations. Words hold power right now, and especially with Mercury being in a super tight, almost exact trine with Pluto at the time of this new moon. The right idea spoken at the right time, and this could change everything. Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces. They're forming sextiles. And so while they're more slow and more subtle, they do offer structure for the dreams that are rising. Saturn brings the form and Neptune brings the vision. And together they can remind us that boundaries are not barriers, they are containers for what matters the most in our lives. Then we have Mercury. So this is the ruler of the new moon. It is in Gemini in its home sign, and it's moving closer to the Cazimi point that will happen just 3 or 4 days later in the sign of Gemini at around 8 degrees. And a Mercury Cazimi is like Mercury sitting on the throne. It's a temporary window of precise insight and swift communication. Here on the East Coast, it's going to be at midnight. So unfortunately, unless you're willing to stay up for the couple of hours, we're gonna miss it here in the United States, at least on the East Coast. So this isn't just clarity though. With this Mercury Cazimi, this is also about integration. And so with that, there's a catch. We also have a tight final square building between Jupiter in Gemini, moving towards Cancer, and Saturn freshly in Aries. And so this introduces the pressure cooker that we have gone through back in August and again in January of this year. So August of 2024 and January of this year. This is the final time that it's going to happen. And so it's building to that with this new moon. And with Neptune near Saturn, we're also navigating, blurred boundaries and collective delusion or disillusionment and the temptation to merge when we really need to individuate, being in Aries. Aries is the individualistic sign of the zodiac. And so you don't need to be everything to everyone, and not all truths belong to you solely. So what does this new moon actually feel like? It is a mental detox, a truth recalibration, if you want to say it that way. And it's a shift in how we process information and conversation, how we articulate what it is that we're thinking and feeling, and how we're directing our ideas, our thoughts, and our words in a specific direction. It's also a reminder that clarity isn't always comfortable, but it can be healing. So here are some themes to pay attention to. And throughout this lunation cycle, especially, is that your voice specifically is your power. Whether it's in writing, conversation, inner dialogue, this is the time to speak with focused, authoritative intention. Boundaries are being tested, especially mentally or even ideologically. And if you feel like someone's crossing a line, they probably are. Connection is everything in this. Gemini is a very connective sign. It likes to be light and flirty, but it likes to connect with other people, but not at the cost of your identity. That's what this new moon is saying. So it reminds us that sameness is not unity. Diversity of thought is necessary and needed at this time. Old ideas are dying, and some things that you once believed no longer hold the weight. So let them go. The truth will replace them, and you may notice that conversations will shift relationships at this time. Clarity that seems to arrive all at once. The desire to write, to teach, or reframe something that you've long held back, and let yourself say the thing. You don't need a polished paragraph. You need presence, you need purpose, and you need passion. So that's what this new moon is all about. Now we will break it down by all 12 rising signs. And remember, this is based on whole sign houses. So listen to your rising sign first. If you don't know your rising sign, you can listen to your sun sign and you will get valid information. You can also listen to your moon sign for that more emotional understanding of what's going on and how you're emotionally processing through these energetic imprints. Let's start with Aries rising. So this new moon is happening in your third house. It's cracking open your mind, but it's also cracking open your mouth. And so with it, excuse me, I'm sorry. With it landing in your third house of communication, this is a reset around how you speak, how you learn, how you move through your day-to-day world. What you say right now matters more than usual. Pluto in your 11th house is asking you, are you shaping your networks or are they shaping you? Meanwhile, with Saturn and Neptune in your first house, the challenge is to get clear on who you're becoming and shed the masks that don't fit anymore. Your voice equals power right now, so use it wisely. For Taurus and for Taurus rising, this new moon is happening in your second house. Money, value, self-worth. This new moon wants a full reset on all three, and it's time to take a hard look at what you're investing in and whether it's actually nourishing your long-term goals. And Pluto in the 10th house says transformation is underway in your public life. And so in your career, in your public persona, in your title, it's going through and transforming all of this. And what you do must align with who you are at a core level. But don't forget that there is the quiet hum of Saturn and Neptune in your 12th house. Intuition is trying to tell you something. What you cut away now makes room for something sustainable and soul deep. And rest may not be an option for a while to come, especially with Saturn here. It's going to limit your downtime. For Gemini and for Gemini rising, this new moon in your personal first house is a reboot. It's a self-initiation into a way of thinking, speaking, and showing up in the world. And with Mercury, which is your chart ruler, in your sign, heading toward that Kazemi, your mind, your creativity, and your passions are all on fire at this time. People are finally listening to you. With Pluto in the 9th house, this adds depth to your beliefs. And it's not enough to talk the talk now. You have to embody it and walk the walk. Meanwhile, with Saturn and Neptune in your 11th, they're challenging you to clarify the vision and the community you're building toward. So don't just dream it, define it, pioneer, and move forward. For Cancer and for Cancer rising, this new moon is happening behind the scenes in your 12th house of endings, hidden realms, rest, sleep, spiritual cleanup, really. So rest, reflect, and release. Pluto in your 8th house is working from the inside out, dredging up karmic fears around power, trust, transformation, and even loss. So this could be a loss of self or a loss of identity or something like that. Not necessarily a loss, specifically a death or anything like that. I'm just saying in general. So let them surface, let these fears transform, right? And with Saturn and Neptune in your 10th house, it's asking you to restructure your ambitions or the legacy that you're building to be rooted in soul, not ego. Because Saturn, obviously, right, is in fall here in the 10th house of Aries, and the sun is exalted. So it's asking you to shed the ego and come at it from that soul level. And so what you shed now will be the soil for what's to grow later on. For Leo and for Leo rising, this new moon is of vision. It's of community and long-range dreams, goals, aspirations. Your 11th house is the space of hope, not fluff, the kind of hope that fuels revolutions and powerful alignments or realignments. Who are you aligning with? Who are you becoming? And how are you adapting with this mutable energy? Pluto in the 7th house is reshaping who and how you partner with other people. It's also changing your power dynamics in relationships, and they are super, super loud right now with Pluto in these early degrees. Saturn and Neptune in your 9th house are blurring the line between belief and vision. So anchor into your own personal path and find the people who are walking the same path with their eyes wide open, able to see what's going on. For Virgo and for Virgo rising, this new moon is a professional power move for you. This is happening in your 10th house of career, public standing. It's offering you a fresh slate, but not without responsibility. You're being asked to define what success actually means to you at this time. And with Pluto in the 6th, this is reminding you that your daily habits, your routines, the job, how you perform at work either empower or drain you. So you need to check in with your workflow, check in with your health, check in with your process. So with Saturn and Neptune in the 8th, this is challenging you to clarify your own personal boundaries, especially around intimacy, fear, karmic debts, old traumas or wounds, and shared resources, and to build the kind of life that you're not afraid to be seen in. For Libra and for Libra rising, something is awakening in your worldview. The 9th house is the place of belief, of growth, of expansion, and this new moon invites you to take a bold step toward your next horizon, to adapt with the newest information and technologies, whether this is travel, teaching, or reclaiming your personal philosophy. Something is ready to stretch. So with Pluto in the 5th, this adds intensity to creative and romantic expression or power struggles around children. The stakes are high, but so too is the passion. So roll with it. Meanwhile, with Saturn and Neptune in your 7th, this is asking you for discernment in relationships. Who sees you clearly and who's just projecting their crap really onto you? For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, this lunation is hitting your 8th house of intimacy, shadow work, and shared energy or resources. And so it's not light, but it is liberating. You're shedding what's no longer yours to carry. And with Pluto, your modern ruler, in the 4th house, digging in there, right? Excavating and dredging up family patterns and generational traumas, breaking personal and ancestral cycles isn't easy, and it requires you to look in the mirror and see what's looking back. And if you're not happy with it, transformation from there. Saturn and Neptune in the 6th is reminding you that your body keeps the score. And so healing requires boundaries. And this is a chance for you to reclaim the energy that you've been misusing. And excuse me. This is also a time to say no to one thing at a time. For Sagittarius and for Sagittarius rising, this new moon marks a new chapter in how you connect one-to-one. Relationships, contracts, and soul agreements are up for renewal. Your 7th house is reminding you that connection is sacred and strategic. Pluto in the Pluto in the 3rd shifts the way you communicate. Sorry for yelling, you guys. No more dodging the hard truths, right? With Pluto here. So you need to say what you need, say what needs to be said. And even if you're crying, even if your voice shakes, even if you whisper, it still needs to be said. And with Saturn and Neptune in your 5th house, this is suggesting a refinement of your creative or romantic expression. No more performative joy, just real joy, real love, real talk. For Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this lunation is happening in your house of work, health, and how you manage your time. They're all up for a full reset. So this new moon in your 6th house urges you to build smarter systems, not just more structure. And with Pluto over in your 2nd, this is overhauling your relationship with value, not just money, but worth. What is it you truly value? Saturn and Neptune in the 4th house are highlighting tension between fantasy and foundation at home. And what needs reinforcing, what needs releasing. This lunation helps to support sustainable routines that honor your real, tangible needs in the world. And then Aquarius and Aquarius rising, this lunation lands in your 5th house of pleasure, romance, creation energy, children, how you have fun, and how you express yourself. And it's asking you to rediscover joy without apology. What lights you up? What turns you on creatively, sexually, intellectually? Pluto in your 1st is rewiring and rewriting your core identity and your sense of self. So, of course, the way you express yourself is also changing. Saturn and Neptune in your third challenge. Sorry, everyone. Saturn in your third is Saturn and Neptune in your third is challenging your inner dialogue and your mind working for you or against you. Is that what's happening for you? So speak love, make art, but don't hold back, whatever it is that you're doing. For Pisces and for Pisces rising, this new moon is in the fourth house of home. And home is, so it's the headline, right? This is the headlining news for Pisces. And so this new moon in your fourth house invites deep rest and a reset in how you root yourself emotionally, mentally, physically. And it's not just about where you live, but how safe you feel in your own skin, in your own house. And Pluto in your 12th is unearthing subconscious patterns, ancestral threads, and psychic residue. So don't ignore what's surfacing because the only way is through. Saturn and Neptune in your second house want you to build something stable. So, sorry, everyone. So now that we've done exploring each of the 12 signs, your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, the general implications, I want to leave you with a few thoughts. What truth needs to be spoken, even if it shakes things up? These are some questions. Where have you merged too much, and how can you return to yourself? What mental patterns are finally ready to shift for you? And so this Gemini moon isn't soft, but it is supportive. It's here to clear the fog, awaken your voice, and set your path with precision. Speaking clearly, thinking critically, listening deeply, and remembering that what you say now could echo for years to come. So thank you for being here with me. And if this landed, please like, share, subscribe. It helps my channel. And I am Shanna from After the Moon. Have a good time, everyone.